Well, coming back and watching the video, um, you know, really a little bit surprised at how undisciplined we played. We had uncharacteristically a lot of really stupid penalties. Had two roughing the punter penalties in one game. That's coaching, and obviously this game was a game that you find out exactly where you're at, but. Played about as poorly as we can play on punt and kickoff return. Left guys unblocked and coaching, assignments and things like that we'd done pretty well on. I thought Gump did a really good job with the return game. What he was, his first game, it wasn't too big for him. He responded pretty well. But even at that, played. Didn't play very well. Obviously, other special teams was the number one thing, and then obviously, offensively we struggled. A lot of that had to do with them. I think they had as good at defensive ends and good at secondary. Their corners were really good. Our guys struggled at receiver getting off the ball. We talked about having things to get them off of us, but even at that, it's 24-17. 4 minutes left in the game. Some remarkable things that our guys showed in the game. I don't know. It was like 13 stops out of 17 drives. Most of those 3 and outs by our defense. Both our corners graded out 98% and 96%. 23 points apiece. I mean, and if you'd asked me going in the game, my biggest concern I thought was their receivers. How would we match up there? I think that was pretty impressive how those guys played. I thought Lau, Armand played really well other than 3 plays. He's a newcomer. He had a couple of busted assignments on coverages. One that both of those resulted in touchdowns. One of them was a long seam pattern that just didn't execute there. But shows great promise, and those are things that are going to happen when you have newcomers in there. You don't want them to, but we gave up really a couple of drives defensively. One they had a fade on, and then they moved down. We had a stupid penalty hitting the quarterback when he was sliding. Just things are very uncharacteristics of us to do, but lots of positive. They get the ball on our 5-yard line. We go 3 and out there. We rough the punter. We go turnover on downs after that. Got 3 takeaways, really with the turnover on down, 4 takeaways defensively. Kickoff cover was impressive. Zane Gonzalez was really impressive. So when I went back and reevaluated, long story short, we did a lot of things to beat ourselves. And everything on that film can be corrected. Now, the thing in the game that was the biggest factor was their ability, our young tackles not able to block their defensive ends. And I think there's some things that we learned from that as well that we can correct and help ourselves out. Fumbled the ball 5 times and turned it over twice. Didn't throw an interception. I thought Mike played very gallantly as a quarterback. And I'm glad it was tough and hard. It showed a lot about our guys. So give them credit. Obviously, they were the better team the other night. But I can tell you, it's one game. It's a very important game, and I think that game will be one that we'll look back and say we got a lot better as a football team. And obviously, there's lots of things that we need to go to work on, and we'll do that. But it's not like our kickoff cover is as good as it's been. Our field goal unit, really good. Our punt block team, our punt return team, we had a chance to do some good things. Just stupid penalties on their roughing the punter. We did it twice. So we got to eliminate those things. And then, our kickoff return, we were leave a guy unblocked from hitting one for a touchdown. So, but even at that, if you ask my opinion, that is as poorly as we've played on special teams. And that's unacceptable. And a lot of that is guys just missed assignments and things like that. And there's some more, probably what we're doing is a little bit more complex than what we've done in the past. And it's about us teaching it. 90% of what I say on film is coaching. And but we feel good moving forward. Obviously, our guys our everything that we're working for is intact, and we've got to have action, not just want it or talk about it. It's about doing it. Mark brought up a great point to me that is pretty standard throughout every year I've coached. Our first year here, we go to Missouri and lose a game we should have won, and our guys responded. The second year, we just get embarrassed at Stanford. Guys responded pretty good. Last year was just an absolute debacle at UCLA here, and we responded pretty well. So, it's not about talking about doing it. It's about action. That's what I talk to our players about. I love our players' attitude. I don't have any different feeling about this team than I did going in this last game. And I'm being honest. I'm always honest. I was a bit surprised at some of the undisciplined play that we had. Some of the things that we didn't adjust very, very well either to what they were doing. And those are some things that we can learn and we can be better from. But there's a lot of things in that game. I mean, to play that bad in two of the three phases and to be 24 to 17 right down the stretch is a one-score game. And we're not about playing the game close, but says a lot about our guys' heart, determination. And there's a lot of things we've got to do a better job of getting the ball in the hands of the guys that need to get the ball in their hands. And obviously not having Kalen, that was something that wasn't, but that wasn't obviously he's a really good player. And I think it did affect DeMario because, he had to play a lot more snaps, and then we had to use Gump in ways that we really didn't want to use him. And if we'd had time, we probably would use DJ instead of that. So there's a lot of things like that. But those things happen. That's kind of part of the game. And he is not out for the year. He'll be back as soon as he's well, which will be in the next couple of weeks, I think.
Give me a hand and we'll get a microphone to you.
Being none. Good day.
Just with the protection issues, Todd, was it mostly on the offensive line there, or was it more of what you guys were doing?
Couple of factors there. We actually had an extensive plan to try to handle. We knew 15. Garrett was a great rusher. Obviously, 10 was another really good rusher. But past that, they rotated the guys a lot, and so we just went back and looked at a lot of things we could do. Whenever those guys weren't in there, that we didn't do. Obviously, some of the things in the run game is the key to establishing that. We knew going in we had two young tackles. I thought, Evan and Billy, they did some really good things. What we did really, really poorly is allow the guys to jump the count. I don't care who's playing tackle. You can't allow people to do that. And that's something that, with the crowd noise, was an issue. But it's something that we also have a plan for, and we didn't do a very good job of executing that plan. So I think them jumping the count and getting off on the ball, and obviously they had some mismatches, but we were also protecting and doing some extra things for him. But we really, it had a lot to do with, tell you the center and the two guards played pretty well. The tackles, didn't play very well when it came to getting beat, and a lot of times we didn't give them a chance because we're letting them jump the count. So that's some things that we got to look at and work on there. Obviously, getting the ball out quick, receivers being able to get off press coverage were some issues there, and then just getting in a rhythm. And the key to being in a rhythm, we are a run, play, action, pass football team, and I thought we didn't establish that the way we could have, and we need to play to our strengths, and so we learned some things there. And but you got to give them credit; they're a good defensive football team. Better than I even thought. I knew the ends were really good. I think the Chief has done a great job with their corners and their secondary. Their second, they were really, I thought they were much improved from what they were on film last year. They'll be a good defense moving forward. They got pretty good defense. But there were some things that they weren't as strong at that even after watching the film, they weren't strong at that we should have been able to take advantage of. So it was going to be a close game. We made too many. Look how many mistakes we made. And, that was the difference. And I think the main difference in the game I thought the punt return for a touchdown. Our bullets, we got bullets over. He's supposed to go to the left. He goes to the right. Our left guard runs all the way to the right. He's supposed to stay to the left. Our right tackle runs down, breaks down 20 yards from him. Our left wing gets held up and doesn't get down the field. There was no one over here except the punter. Our deep snapper almost made the tackle. So that was just really, really poor execution on our part. And obviously made a great run. I mean, but didn't punt the ball. With the hang time that we need to do it. We didn't punt the ball very good, and punted it too often. So that's some things that the special teams eras in missed opportunities and penalties and punt return for touchdown was really the difference in the game, because they dominated our offense. Well, I felt like we were dominating their offense as well. I mean, we had 3 sacks, but it was much more. And they couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't protect their quarterback. So it was one of those things that you can't lose 2 of the 3 phases and win. But on the same hand, we made some critical errors defensively that if we don't make, we still would have had a chance to win the game. So I think probably that the punt return is a big factor. And then the biggest factor was when we get the interception right there on the 30, 35-yard line, and we turn it over the next play, sacked, fumbled, and back on the 50-yard line. I thought that was a big, big play, because I think it was 17-14 or something. We were or it was close to being. We would have tied it up or went ahead. It might have been 14-7 at that point. But I thought those were some key factors in the game, and I thought our guys weren't like. Because it was extremely loud, extremely, hostile environment. And our guys responded very, very well to that. Had a lot of cramping problems. That hurt us, down the stretch towards the end. But I thought that was the keys in the game. But even at that, to be where we were, showed incredible, I think, intestinal fortitude on our guys. So I feel good about where we're at. Obviously, I'm not happy to lose the game, but all the things that I see are things that we can improve upon, and I do think this game will make us better moving forward down the stretch.
Coach, you seem to really fit the run well. Salamo Fizo and Christian Sam played well. Can you talk about just kind of how you felt about that integrity inside? Well,
it's really easy to fit the run when you're just dominating the line of scrimmage. Ami Latu, wow. Tayshawn Smallwood. Demetrius Cherry, JoJo Wicker. Wow. I mean, he had a couple of critical errors that hurt us on some stunts, but man, that kid is Boateng played his best game. They totally dominated the line of scrimmage. Matter of fact, they told me, hey, Coach, quit slanting and just let us play, okay? Because we can, it was totally dominated out on the perimeter. 2 really good receivers now. I mean, really good receivers. Obviously, they wind up hurting us in the slot on a bubble. I mean, that's amazing. We gave up a 66-yard touchdown on a bubble, which was, I don't think that's been a long time since that's happened to us. But I thought Salamo, like you're saying, and I thought Christian played really well. Salamo is so smart. He runs the defense and makes most of the calls, and it was. I wasn't really throughout the whole game. I was really pretty calm, because after the first series, the defensive line said, "Hey, Coach, we can dominate the line of scrimmage." The corner said, "Coach, hey, you can pressure when you want. We can handle these guys." And so I really thought we would be able to keep them from scoring. They did a great job with their tempo. And we probably were, we do a lot schematically, and I think we got a little bit, we couldn't get lined up a few times. It hurt us. They had 1 fade on us, so we have the makings of a really, really good defensive football team because of the line, the guys we have up front. We didn't play Rennell or Darius or any of those guys, and Ishmael was suspended for the game, so he didn't play either. So. Offensive line-wise, we just got to get those guys. And I don't think that those guys, I think that those guys did some good things. I think we faced a very tough matchup, and obviously I don't think we adjusted very well.
Talking more about the offensive line, specifically the run game, what did you see there that hurt you? What was it? Technique? Did they just win one-on-one matchups with you?
I mean, we ran the ball inside when we ran it inside. I think we did too much lateral running game, and you got really, really good defensive ends, really good secondary. You need to. That's just things we need to look at. But on the same hand, I mean, I don't come in and question things. I can tell you that I am thoroughly involved in everything, even though you see me mostly doing defense. One of the most understudied and major factors in the game of football is cadence. You guys watch, Peyton Manning and all that Omaha stuff and all that. As soon as they snapped the ball over his head, again, that Seattle game, and then there wasn't going to be any more hard count and all that, the game was over. Guys, you can't let people tee off on you. And I thought we did we got to do a better job as coaches of varying that and doing that. And I understand it's not as easy as you think it is when you're on the road. When you're on the road, it's so loud. Being able to communicate is very difficult. But we did have a plan. We just did not execute it. I think that we are a downhill run football team. That's what, the strength of our team obviously is inside and with our tailback. And that's just what we do. We're an inside zone power football team. And obviously run the nakeds off that and play action pass and, 5 guys in the pattern. We had a lot of mental errors, receivers running into each other, a lot of mental errors, 2 critical drops. You're going to win close games. I mean, but that's I think combined to the mental errors at receiver due to maybe youth. I think the lack of being able to protect our quarterback and holding the ball too long. Got sacked 9 times. That can't happen. That's also something that continues to be an issue. If you ask me, what is the thing offensively going into the season that we've got to prepare to do better, it's not taking negative plays. We've been sacked too many times, holding on the ball too long. We're trying to get the ball out. Well, we had quick game passes, and we got guys running the wrong routes, and we got guys and we have not done that in camp. So we had some issues there with. Basically, when you look in the game, your veterans always play really well, and then your newcomer guys are going to make some mistakes. But in the run game, they were, their ends were very, very good. They were holding point. But when we ran the ball and handed it off inside, we made yards. We just did too much perimeter stuff, and then I think it was really what they're sometimes, one thing I believe in that people, when I was younger, all I did is draw up plays all the time. And see, the problem with those plays is who are the people running it? Personnel should drive what you're doing, not scheme. And so it was hard. I'm going to tell you, it was very difficult. We probably looked at too much LSU film because they didn't do what they did at LSU, which I wouldn't have done that. I mean, he's going to adapt to his guys. They did some things, but they played some very different techniques in certain situations. So what you do is you look at what are our strengths. We didn't get number 8 the ball. He's got to get the ball. I mean, that's one of the lesser productive, games he's had. So we talked about all those things, and at the end of the day, all the speculation afterwards is just second guessing everything. Obviously there's times where you win or you don't, and we did not. I didn't think we adjusted well, and then it was difficult because we didn't have film to go on as far as what they're actually going to do. And one of the things I would tell you, they're dramatically improved on defense, dramatically improved. And obviously they got a new coach who doing a great job. But even at that, there still were issues. Their linebackers inside, their inside defensive tackles. There were some things that we could have done. So. We approach it, obviously, nothing we can do about it. It was a game that I'm proud of how our guys played and their effort, but lots of work to do, lots of improvements to make. But still got every bit of belief in what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Todd, how disappointing was it with the emphasis that you've put on special teams over the spring and the summer, in the preseason? How disappointing was it to open up with a performance
Yeah, and it
like
was
this?
really surprising to me, and I think it was surprising to Sean too. We have spent twice as much time, double the time, on special teams than we've spent in the past, in meetings and on the field, and we've executed pretty well. I mean, we have just punted the ball like unbelievably in camp, and we're you know, I've still got all the confidence in the world. We are more complicated. We're running more things, and we had some critical errors. Like, you got a guy roughing the punters, now he's supposed to be rushing the punter. You know, and he's given extraordinary effort, but that's, you know, you got young guys, and that's coaching. That's not the player's fault. That's our fault. And so that's something that surprised me, because I'm telling you now, our kickoff cover was pretty stellar. Zane Gonzalez, wow. I mean, that's nice to have him kicking the ball like that, and then, you know, obviously he's a great field goal kicker. We did some great things on kickoff return. They didn't have one guy that didn't block the guy. And stuff, we ran one return. So, you know, we had some mistakes there. On the punt, you know, we had a 3-5 hang time, which was not what you want, and we had 3 critical errors on that. And one of the things too, we got to have our best guys on there. You know, we didn't, you know, we thought we could have some other guys that could get it done there, and you got to put your best guys on there. You got to have Lloyd, you got to have Quishy, we got to have all that, and none of those guys were on there. And so, and obviously we didn't do that because we didn't want to put them on there. We thought the other, you know, people could handle it, but we just made some critical errors. There was 3 critical errors in that one play, and there was absolutely the center, the deep snapper, who did an unbelievable job. That was one of the positives. I mean, our deep snapping and obviously our operation time is phenomenal. Our protection was just all over the place. I mean, we made a lot of errors there, and had guys running in the backfield unblocked, but they can't, because we getting the ball off so fast, it's pretty hard to block it. So, I mean, on the punt return, there was a center and nobody else. There was nobody over there. And that's not something that we should be doing. But ultimately, I mean, you don't get any rewind. There's not a rewind button. But I can tell you this, you know, I have a lot of confidence in where we're at. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, he's doing a hell of a job working and teaching them and coaching them. I can tell you, I've learned, you know, and I've ran the special teams here pretty much since we've been here, and it hasn't always been horrible, contrary to what people say. We had the number 1 punt unit in the country our first year here, and punt coverage team, because we had a punter who kicked the ball 5 point whatever seconds tall. We've just underachieved in the return game with the skill players we have. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to get that going and get those things corrected. The one thing I would tell you about this game, when you play an opponent like that and you make mistakes, you get exposed. It ain't like going and playing, you know, a different deal. It makes sense? So I really think that, and I know that game was important because of how we're going to start conference play. I really think that I'd much rather, you know, be correcting the things and get it done now than have to be, you know, worrying about that when we get to conference play. So that was, and you know, I mean, I'd like to say, well, you know, I mean, we just got to work or whatever. I was surprised at that. I was like, wow. I mean, we have not done that. So, you know, and ultimately, you know, it's my responsibility. So. But we're going, you know, sky's not falling. We will rise again, I'll assure you.
Todd, can you talk a little bit more about Christian Sam and what?
Man, he really played incredible game. Probably his best game since he's been here. He's just really gotten a lot stronger. I tell you that there's a lot of people like that. Quishy Brown, Lloyd Carrington, Jordan, Salamo, Christian Sams. Antonio Longino, all those guys are bigger and stronger and faster. And Christian is 237 pounds. I mean, he can run, he can cover. He was really composed and very physical. played very physical, and obviously him and the front six, they couldn't really do much running the football. They had when they put the little number one in there, he kind of ran around and did some stuff, but that there was some hidden yardage there in the run game. He scrambled for 50 yards or something like that, but that hurt us a little bit, but about it. But Christian played a hell of a game.
Todd, I know you touched on it earlier, but is there anything further you can tell us on Kalen in terms of a timeline or
like I said, I think it'll be a week or two. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not something that's going to be a season-ending deal, and he was rather upset with us, but we got to do what's best for our safety for our players and stuff like that, and we'll be cautious with that because talk to him. He say we're gonna be back this week, which probably not gonna happen. But I'd say a couple of weeks would be my guess.
Did you know when you left to go to Houston that you might not have him?
No.
So when did you find out about that?
We found out, Tim, the day before, like we found out Friday, and he flew back at 2 p.m. It was significant, but that stuff's going to happen. Now, I was like, it didn't make my day, but he is a major part of what we're doing. And I tell you one thing, it hurt our special teams. Hurt our special teams. I think it hurt our, because the way we practice with our grouping. So DeMario didn't have that guy to kind of that 1-2 punch with him. And then Gump, who wasn't really supposed to play that much in the running back position, now he had to do all that. If we would have probably had time, we would have had DJ do that instead of – so it did affect it a little bit. But, the good thing is that we'll get him back. We'll get him back as soon as he's cleared medically. But we obviously – and it was something that, we have a great – training staff. We have a great team of doctors, and did not want to get on the plane and come home. I can tell you that. He was rather upset with me, but I told him I wasn't. I can't. I've got to do what's well-being of our guys. Okie doke.